I'm extremely excited about this conference. You've seen 1999 as being the year that we set in 1996 to achieve our next mission, and that year's now arrived. A year that you achieve your mission is always extremely exciting. So I'd like to thank you, first of all, for coming, and secondly, for sharing in that excitement and hopefully being able to take it back to your organizations. In thinking about the purpose of you being here, there was no contest, as far as I'm concerned, as to what the purpose for the conference is. The purpose for this conference is identical to the purpose of the organization. We want to help you. We want to help you be more successful. We want to help you get ahead of your competition. And we think we can do that with our technology. Specifically, there are certain areas which I think in this year, in the R&D that we've done and the development of the market, you'll be especially interested in. And I've chosen those two areas to focus on this morning. First of all, I think that organizations like yourselves that have deployed GTX within their call centers and have integrated it into their operational systems are uniquely positioned in the UK to overtake their competition in the area of direct-to-customer services. In other words, becoming multi-channel operations. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Secondly, one of the key areas that I think you now have as a differentiating advantage having GTX is to understand how that framework can be now used to enable enterprise integration on a very wide scale. Really, there are two parts to that. Reaching out from your organizations to your consumers, to your customers in more ways, and reaching in to the enterprise, enabling integration within the enterprise and new projects to be rapidly deployed. It's no real surprise when you look at this 1996 mission that these are two key themes from today's conference. To shape and make available by 1999 the technology for process deployment and management, not only to the major corporations of the world, but to every user of the global communications network. You notice in that mission, and in what we say here, I haven't mentioned call center. And I think the time has come for GTX to shrug off, like a metamorphosis, the skin that was it being a call center infrastructure. When we originally launched GTX in 1994, we made a conscious decision to explain what it was as a call center infrastructure. Initially, it wasn't to be so. It was to be more than that. It was to be a complete enterprise-wide business process management framework. Positioning GTX as a call center product has its advantages. People can understand it. But the time has come to shake that baggage off. The time has come to shed that skin and grow even more. GTX is no longer a call center framework. If you think it's just a call center framework, I'm glad you're here, because we hope to change your minds. It was, however, born within a call center environment. The original requirements that we faced when we were trying to build a next-generation product to leapfrog the world's competition and to enable business process deployment within a call center, those original requirements have shaped the product itself. If you look at the way those requirements have grown, the industry as a whole now is representing the same problems that were faced in call centers in 1993. GTX has grown out of those core designs and core requirements into a framework that has great sophistication, depth, flexibility, and reach. The value of GTX as an infrastructure has actually increased as different technologies have come along. Since the launch of GTX, we've seen the internet come along and take off, and that has boosted the value of the GTX framework. We've seen Java as a programming language come along in the industry, and that has boosted the value of the GTX framework. We've seen Corba as a standard systems integration framework come along, and that has boosted the value of the GTX framework. We've seen new channels that are not internet-based come along, and that again has boosted the value of the GTX framework. In short, the GTX product has bucked the trend of technology obsolescence. It's more valuable today than it ever has been.